It began like any other morning at Harrison International Airport, if a place like that could ever feel ordinary anymore. The world had been living on edge for months, and security had tightened until nothing was truly random. Every bag was examined. Every passenger was watched. The checkpoint buzzed with restless energy as travelers shuffled forward. Shoes in their hands, laptops in trays, tiny bottles sealed inside plastic bags. Outside, dark clouds rolled in, thunder murmuring. Beyond the glass, while frustration and tension filled the terminal, then she stepped into line. She didn't look dangerous in the slightest. Early 20s, soft brown hair, loosely braided, faded jeans, and a worn navy hoodie. She had the kind of quiet presence people barely noticed. Scuffed backpack was held tightly against her chest as she moved forward when it was her turn. Tall TSA officer, with a clipboard and a permanent scowl, motioned her toward the scanner. She slipped off her sneakers, placed her bag in a tray, and walked through the machine. No alarms sounded, yet the operator frowned at his screen. "Bag check," called. The clipboard officer nodded and gestured for her to step aside. "Is there a problem?" she asked calmly, though something in her voice carried a strange weight. "Just a routine inspection," he replied, though his tone said otherwise. The backpack was placed on a steel table. A female officer pulled on gloves and opened it, moving items one by one: a torn notebook, a pen, a half-empty water bottle, paperback novel, a small pouch of toiletries. The young woman never looked away, her gaze fixed on the officers. Hands, the smaller pockets, were searched next. A phone charger, loose coins. A folded map of Berlin. A single key on a leather strap. Then the officer reached a hidden zipper at the back. Her gloved fingers, metallic and far heavier than it should have been. When she pulled it out, the noise of the terminal seemed to fade. It was black metal wrapped with a deep red ribbon, etched with an unfamiliar insignia. Not a military decoration from any known nation, something far rarer and far more dangerous. The officer stared at it. "What is this?" The young woman said nothing. The clipboard officer stepped closer. "Ma'am, where did you get this?" Still. No answer. Just that distant, unreadable stare. A senior officer approached, and the moment he saw the object, his face tightened. He glanced around as if checking for cameras. "This isn't possible," he muttered. These were all destroyed. He held it under the light. The black surface seemed to absorb brightness rather than reflect it, and faint lettering shimmered around its edge in a language few still remembered. "They weren't all destroyed," the young woman said softly. His eyes snapped to hers. "Where did you get it?" She tilted her head. "If I told you, would you even believe me?" The mood at the checkpoint shifted from inconvenience to something far more serious. Within minutes, the area was cleared, and she was escorted into a small, windowless security room. She sat across from the officer as the medal lay between them on the table. "This is known as the Aegis of Ash," said. "Only 12 were ever made. They were given for the most dangerous covert missions in history, operations so classified they don't officially exist. The last confirmed recipient died in 1986, so why do you have one?" "'Cause I earned it," he laughed. "You weren't even alive back then. Maybe you should ask yourself why you're so sure of that." She gave her name Elena Ward, but the rest of what she said sounded impossible. She spoke of missions no government admitted to, of agents erased from history, of an operation called Night Glass, a team of 12 sent to destroy a threat hidden deep inside the intelligence world. Most never returned from existence, so the truth would die with them. "They thought destroying the medals would erase the proof," she said. They were wrong. The lights suddenly flickered. A voice crackled in the officer's earpiece. "Sir, 3 armed individuals just breached the west entrance." Elena's eyes sharpened. "They're here for it." Gunfire echoed through the terminal. She grabbed her bag, slipping the medal into her pocket. "If they get this, you won't like what happens next." Against every rule, the officer handed her an earpiece. "Go." The terminal had turned into a battlefield. Masked figures in tactical black moved through the crowd with precision. These weren't criminals, they were professionals. Alina recognized their patterns. She knew their training because once, long ago, she'd been trained the same way. "Find the woman," one of them called. "She has it." She moved silently, dropping one attacker before he could react and taking his weapon. Her goal wasn't to fight, it was to protect the metal. "What is it really?" the officer asked through the earpiece. "It's a key," she said. "And it opens something the world isn't ready to remember. By the time security forces arrive, 2 attackers were down, and the third had vanished." Alina disappeared into the storm outside. 2 weeks later, the officer found an envelope beneath his door. Inside, wrapped in black cloth, was the metal. No message. No explanation. Only the quiet certainty that the aegis of Ashanda Lena Ward were far from finished.